Hi, I'm Navid Ansari, and in this video we're going to talk about everything basic about Niagara. And after this video, we're going to create some cool stuff with Niagara. Okay, so without any further ado, let's begin. So first of all, for working with the Niagara system, you should know that there is Niagara system and Niagara emitters. And each Niagara system, you can just drag and drop it on your scene, but Niagara emitters, you can't do it. You should add your Niagara emitters into a Niagara system, and you can add that system in your level and access it in Blueprint as well. So first thing to do, you should go to edit in plugins. You should enable Niagara if it's not enabled. If you go down in effects, you can see the Niagara is in here. The old method of doing this kind of effect was called cascade, but if you have any cascade effect in your project, you can enable this cascade to Niagara converter, and you can use this to convert it to Niagara system. Okay, but for now we need Niagara and Niagara fluids. Okay, another way to find it, just click on these old plugins, and in here search for Niagara. Okay, and there is chaos Niagara, there is Niagara, there is Niagara example custom data interface. Don't worry about that, just check this Niagara, this is the most important one. And after that you can go to content drawer, and in here you can right click in effects, you can find Niagara system and Niagara emitters. You can see there is a lot of stuff in here. 3 of them you can see for parameters, one of them is for module script, and I will talk about all of them in details, but this video is all about basic stuff with Niagara system. Okay, so first of all, let's just create a Niagara emitter, and after we did create a Niagara emitter, we add it to a system, and with that system we can add it to our scene. Okay, and you can have multiple emitters in one system. For example, you want to create a fire, and your fire has smoke, it has actual fire, it has some particle, and you want to have these 3 emitters in one system. Okay, so they make a fire, right? So the cool thing about the Niagara system is that you can create all of these elements in its own emitters and add them together, and it creates the fire. Okay, and you can use these emitters in other systems as well. So for example, you want just a smoke, you can just use that emitters that you create a smoke in it. Okay, so first of all, let's just create a Niagara emitter. Okay, and it will tell you, do you want to create a new emitter or copy existing emitter? I don't want to copy existing emitter because I didn't create any Niagara, and this video is for basics. So click on new emitter, hit next in here, and it will tell you to pick up a starting point for your emitter. Okay, because this is again for the basic, I want to use empty. Okay, don't use any of these. For this tutorial to work, we should use empty, right? Hit finish, and it will create our Niagara emitters. So for naming it, because this is Niagara emitter, at the beginning of it we say NE for Niagara emitter, and after that we put our name in there. Okay, for example, this one I want it to be a smoke, for example. Okay, double click on it, and it will open it in emitter in this panel here. Okay, there is a preview panel here, there is a timeline in here, and there is our emitter node in here. Okay, you can see there are some parameters here, but I don't want to talk about the parameters right now. You can just close this and we will talk about it. You should know that this video is a start of a playlist of videos about Niagara, because Niagara does have a lot of options and I can't explain everything in just one video. Okay, so this is our preview panel, this is our timeline, and this is our emitter, and you can see the color orange in here, it means that this is a emitter. So first thing, let's just talk about all of these. For me to show you clearly, let's just pause this, and in here you can see there is property, there is emitter summary, there is emitter spawn, emitter update, particle spawn, particle update, and render. Let's just collapse everything. This is an empty one. Okay, and this what you should get on a empty emitter. Okay, and these all that I did collapse is categories. Okay, so for example, we have categories of emitter spawn that we can add to it. Okay, by clicking on this plus, we have category of emitter update that we can add to it. Okay, and just notice this, if we click on this plus sign on particle spawn, it will give us some suggestion. Okay, that's so handy. One question is why this plus in here is in orange but this plus icon in here is in green. It's because whatever that relate to emitter is orange, and whatever that is related to particle is green. So you find it fast what is for particle and what is for emitter. Okay, let's just start from bottom, and you can see the plus sign is in another color, right? So if you click in here, you can see at default it has a sprite renderer, and if you click on it in this selection panel in here, we can change some values in here, and there is a lot of them. So for me to explain it better, what I always do, I collapse everything, and you can see it this way. It is better, right? So this is for a sprite renderer, but it's not just that. We can add another things as well for our render. Okay, if you click on here, you can see it has component renderer, geometry cache renderer, light renderer, mesh, ribbon renderer, and a sprite renderer. At default it is a sprite renderer, and we will start there and we will go through all the renderers. But for this basic video, let's just stick with this sprite renderer. And when we click on it, you can see there is a lot of options in here. So first of all, let me explain what is a sprite. Whatever image that is 2D, whatever 2D image that you have, it's called a sprite. So a sprite is like an image, okay? So it will render that image, okay? So if you click on this sprite renderer, you can see there is a lot of option here. For example, let's just go to the first one in here. In here, you can change the material that we want to use with this emitter, okay? And just know this, that you can change the material in here, and you can see there is a lot of options in here. But if I wanted to tell you what they are in this video without a practical example, you will forget it. So that's why I'm creating this video series, so I can show you each one of these property in detail in a practical example. So for now, just know this, that this sprite renderer will render a sprite or image as our particles, okay? And we can change the material. Let's just leave it at default. We didn't add anything right now. It's an empty emitter, right? So now let's just start from the top. First of all, the property in here. So you can see there is a lot of options in here, but the most important one is sim target. Do you want it to be CPU simulation or GPU? Okay, always you can do a lot of cool things with GPU because you can have a lot of particle in your scene. But let's just leave it at default. Okay, I don't want to talk about all of these properties because, like, you know, I want to create a video that has a practical example for me to show you all of this stuff. So after this property, we should go to emitter spawn, and in here we can specify the property for our emitters, okay, for spawning when our emitter spawn. Okay, so for example, you in your game you want to spawn your emitter, and what you put in this emitter spawn will happen at emitter spawn. Just think about this emitter spawn and emitter update as a event begin play and event tick. Okay, so this emitter spawn, it's like a event begin play in blueprint, and this emitter update, it's like event tick. Okay, like we have it in emitter, we have it in particle as well. So just think about this particle spawn as event begin play and this particle update as event tick. Okay, so first of all, let's just go to this emitter spawn, click on this plus sign. Let's just add something to it. The cool thing about this Niagara system, it will give you some suggestion. Do you want to spawn this emitter as so it has a shape, or you want to spawn per unit, or you want to spawn rate? Okay, and if you hover over them, it will show you what they are, and you can see it says spawn particle using number of different shape primitive. Spawn per unit, it will spawn per centimeter. Okay, so for example, let's just use this spawn rate, and right off the bat it give us an error. Okay, and you can read the error in here. The module has unset dependencies. So for using the spawn rate, you should add something else to emitter update, and it will tell you, and it can fix it for you. Okay, if you click on fix issue, you can see it move it from emitter spawn to emitter update, and you can see no spawn rate in here. You can see in here in emitter update there is already a emitter state in here as well, and right now it's set to be as a system. Okay, so we should put this emitter in a system. So with this emitter state set as system, the system that we put this emitter in decide what this value should be. Let's just leave it as system. I will talk about the other options as well. In this spawn rate, we can change the rate of creating our particles. So for example, I want to say create 100 per second. Okay, so you can see if you hover over this, it says number of particle per second, and if you run the simulation, it will create 100 particle per second, right? And in above in here, you can see it will show you the number of particle that it's created. Okay, you can see it start from 0 because our timeline start from 0 from here. If we don't want this timeline to go beyond and beyond to here, we can change the position of this playhead in here like this red one, and now we can play it, and when it reach here it will get back. Okay, and you can see the number of particles in here. So now we have a spawn rate and it will create 100 particle per second. And this red thing in here, let's just pause this. These red things in here, if you put it on 3, for example, like this, it will create 300. So let's just play it again, and you can see it in here, it create 300 in here and start from 0 again. Okay, so if you don't want it to this to loop, you can go to emitter state and in here change this life cycle. Okay, everything makes sense with this system of the Niagara. Okay, so in emitter update you can change this system to self. Now you have access to change the life cycle. Okay, so for example, do you want it to loop? For example, I want to say no, I want it to happen once. Okay, and the loop duration, I want to be 3 seconds, for example, and no, you can see this green bar in here changes. So if you put 1 in here, the emitter itself stay 1 second in here, and after that emitter goes away, but particles are there and we can see it if you play it. Okay, let's just hit the space to play it. The emitter gone, but particle is in there, so emitter stay for 1 second. There is some option in here for inactive response. If you change it to kill after 1 second, it kill the emitter and all the particles, and you can see it if you play it. After 1 second it will kill the emitter and the particles. So again, we can change this to continue. With this continue, the emitter won't die until the system tell it to. Okay, and you can see it will again start from 0, and you can see how it works. Now let's just go to particle spawn. Okay, at default it has initial particle, and if you click on it you can see there is a lot of information in here. For example, how much your particle lifetime should be. So for example, this timeline play for 3 seconds because we put these red things in 3 seconds, right? So if we put the lifetime of our particle, for example, to 2 seconds, after 2 seconds, for example, in here it will create a particle and create and after 1 second it start to kill those particles, and you can see it in here. But when I add some motion to this particle, you can see it clearly. We will talk about this a lot in a second, don't worry about it. After that we can change the color of this. Okay, so you can see in color mode we can, at default it says on set, but we can change it to direct set, and we can change the color, for example, to red. Okay, now you can see it is red. So you can see when we click on this initial particle, it shows us everything, every detail on it. But at the most cases we want, for example, work with this point attribute, so we click on this point so we can see just the point attribute. Or if we are using a sprite renderer or a sprite, we can just click on here and just see the sprite attribute, and of course you can just use all and you can see all of the attribute in here. So no, let's just add another thing to this particle spawn. If we click in here, you can see it will suggest you some option in here. For example, add velocity. And right off the bat, like in emitter spawn, it give us an error. So first of all, read through this in here to tell you if you click on fix what it will do. So let's just click on it, and what it do, it add velocity to particle spawn, and after that in particle update it add a solve force and velocity. Okay, so it will add this automatically when you add a velocity in here. So now if we play here, because we add a velocity in here on 50 in z direction, you can see the z direction in here. So we put 50 in here, so it will should go up. Let's just hit a space in here, and now you can see it goes up. Okay, you can see it's acting like this, it go up and delete in here. For me to explain why it's happening better, if you go to a spawn rate, let's just change this to 2 so you can see it clearly. So it will create 2 particles in 1 second. Okay, one at the beginning and another one, you can see it because I think the alpha is a lot less. So if we after half of a second, it will create another particle, and this particle will be destroyed after 2 seconds. So at this point it will destroy, you can see it here, right? So that's just because in this initialized particle we put 2 in here. Okay, so the lifetime of the particle is 2 seconds. So when it starts, for example, in this 0.5 second in here, it will kill in 2.5 in here. Okay, so that was it for this lifetime that we have in here. So let's just again go to a spawn rate and change it to 100. okay? I want to show you another thing with this add velocity. You can see we changed the z position, we add some velocity to z position. Let's just add some velocity to y and x as well, okay? Let's see what will happen. If we play now, and now you can see it will go to positive direction in x, y, and z. But we want to randomize that, okay? We don't want to do it like this, right? So let's just go here. You can see beside a lot of this stuff in here, there is arrow in here. If we click on it, you can change the type of these variables in here. So right now it is a vector, but we can change that by going click on here, and you can see it will give you some suggestion. What I want to use random range vector. That is, you will use it a lot. So click on it and it will change it from just a vector. It will use a random range vector and it will tell you what is the range. Okay, so for example, I want to go up 50, okay, the velocity on top, the maximum I want to be 50, and for the x, the maximum I want to be 50, for example, as well, and for the x, 50. So it will randomly select a value from 0 to 50 for all of them. And if we play now, let's just see, and now you can see it will randomly change its position because we add some random velocity to our particles, right? So we can say in x direction we want to start from minus 50, and for y as well minus 50, and because we want to go up, we can just leave this the minimum z at the 0, and now you can see it clearly. It's already like a smoke, right? The red smoke. So you can see the life of our particle is just 2 seconds. So let's just click on this initial particle and change the life of that to 5, for example, and now you can see they stay there more, okay? Because we did change this to 3 seconds, we can see it clearly. So let's just make it a little bigger and unzoom in here. Now you can see the first particle stay 5 seconds, and after that it will destroy it. Again in here for this lifetime we can randomize that as well. So if you click on here, it will give you some suggestion in here. For example, I want to use random range float, and in here we can decide a minimum and a maximum value for our lifetime. So for example, I want to be between 5 and 10, okay? Now if you play our timeline in here, some of them kill after 5 seconds, and some of them after 7 seconds, and some of them after 10 seconds. So let's just maximize this like this. I want to be more than 10 seconds. So you can see some of them stay for 10 seconds in here, okay? So next thing that I'm going to talk about is this particle update, okay? And you can see at default it has particle state, and in this particle state you can see there is one parameter in here that it says kill particle when lifetime has elapsed or not. If you uncheck this, you can see the particle no won't kill anymore, okay? They will just expand, right? And if you wanted to kill it after the lifetime that we set in initial particle, we can check this kill particle when lifetime has elapsed, and they will destroy it, okay? So next thing that I'm going to talk about in this particle update, we can add something in here as well. For example, we want all of these particle to physics, to gravity applied to it, okay? What comes to mind, you can find that in Niagara system as well. So let's just click in here and search for gravity, okay? And you can see there is gravity force. Of course you could do it with velocity as well, but gravity is better. Just click on it and gravity force in here, and right now you can see it's just fall off because the gravity force in there, okay? Let's just go to this gravity force and change this gravity force, and you can see the z direction is in here, and this value is minus 980, so it will fall down, okay? So let's just decrease that value to minus 19, for example. Now you can see it will go down again, 9 minus 9, and for it to be more cool, let's just put it at minus 19 in here for you to see it. Let's just expand this so you can see this is minus 19, and let's just go to add velocity and change the velocity for z direction to 200, for example. Now it will go up because it has more velocity to the positive direction of z, okay? And after that, because we have some gravity, they fall down, and you can see it clearly, right? So let's just again change this to 500, and now you can see it's like a fountain, go up, and after that there is some gravity gravity force in it, and they will go down. For an example, let's just change this spawn rate to 1000, for example, and now you can see it's beautiful, right? Now we have our emitter, how we can use it. This is the last part of this video. If you go to content drawer right now, you can right click on it and create a Niagara system off of that. But let's just right click in here and create a Niagara system for us, or you can just go to effects and create a Niagara system in here, and it will tell you if you want to create a new system from selected emitters, or you want to create a new system from template. I don't want to do that. Or you want to copy existing system. I don't have any system. Or you want to create an empty system. Okay, let's just click on that and hit finished, and now we have our Niagara system. Okay, let's just name it an S for Niagara system, and here I want to say a smoke. Okay, let's just double click on it, and you can see right now it's just a system. Okay, we can add some user parameter, some system spawn and system update. All of those information I will talk about it in detail, don't worry about it. But first of all, how we can add our emitter to our system. Let's just undock this, and let's just put this Niagara emitter in our timeline in here. No, let's just close this, and now you can see our emitter is here and our system is here as well. Okay, this is our system and this is our emitter that we just create. Okay, so now that we add this to our system, let's just play, and now you can see our fountain is in here, right? We did create it ourselves and everything is finished. I will talk about more details in here, but let's just leave it at with that. And in here, just add our system to our scene. Okay, now you can see it works beautifully, right? And if you play it, you can see it will happen because we set it at once, it will play once. But in the future videos, in this video series, this playlist of videos about Niagara system, I will show you a lot of cool stuff. This video just was for beginners and the basic stuff with our Niagara system and Niagara emitters. I hope you like this video. Please, if you want to help me, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's my honor to have you here. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.